This is Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist. I'm going to share my arrangement of O Little Town of Bethlehem. I'll play through it first and then we'll go through it. It was pretty close. So the real keys to this are phrasing and legato. You should, as you're going through it, if you can't keep the legato line so that the through the phrase, then you need to really just stop and work on each little section that gives you difficulty. And we'll talk about it section by section now. But the real key to practicing this is to get, to learn each one of each section. There's most of the lines you could possibly keep legato all the way through each of the four lines, but there is sort of a little place for a catch breath. So if you thought about it as singing, it would be, "O little town of Bethlehem." And most singers take a real short breath there. If you're a really good singer with good wind, you could carry that through, and that would be ideal. But usually there's a little breath right there. Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. And so it's important to, within those phrases, that the notes are all connected. You don't want to, "Oh, little town of Bethlehem." You don't want breaks in the guitar there that would interrupt the melodic line. So that's why you need to keep everything legato, which means just flowing smoothly like the human voice. So from the start here. That first full measure, which I think is measure 2, 3, 4, 5, measure 2, the way things are numbered here. I have a change here. I recorded this on my Christmas CD, and I made some changes in the arrangement, just minor ones, and I'll coach you through them. You can scratch out or add to your music as we're going through this. So hopefully you have the sheet music in front of you. And that last measure there, it's only written with these two notes, but I give it the full D chord, the bottom 4 strings, or the top 4 sounding strings, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And then you slide up to the diminished at the start of measure 3. So, oh, and one other thing, in the 3rd beat there, be real careful of the placement. When you bring your, slide your 1st and 2nd fingers down, be sure to get your straight up and down on your fingertips, because especially if you have larger fingertips like I do, or larger fingers, you have to be really precise. Otherwise you're gonna mute that 2nd string. It has to be open and sounding in between 2 fingers that are down on either side of it. So little room for extra precision there. So then, and when you go up, this is a diminished chord, but you're just getting 3 notes here with your 4th, 2nd, and 3rd strings, or fingers, on the 1st, second and third string, and the open A bass. And here's the first of some glissandos that we'll talk about. Going from this diminished chord at the start of measure 3, slide down on your, keep the pressure down on your little finger. So as you go from the 5th string to the 2nd string, you're getting that kind of sound. And that's because otherwise you're going to get, and that's like Bethlehem instead of Bethlehem. So if you get this glissando, it helps glue the legato, makes the legato happen, keeps everything flowing and smooth. So it's a little trick that you can use there. And then measure 4. So in the last measure there, measure 5 of that first line, that's the chord there is your melody. And then the next notes are all, well, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, 8th notes, are all just sort of a little melodic figure that's fill. And you want the melody to be loud and the fill to be much softer. So, and then the last note there, that last beat of that measure, is melody again, so you come in strong on that. And also that, if you notice that last, the 4th beat there, there's an 8th note on the A. I scratched that out when I recorded. I didn't do that. I didn't like that 8th note in there, so I just went and then started in measure 6. So measure 6 has another sort of a pseudo glissando. You're sliding on the 2nd and 3rd fingers until you get up to about where you're going to put your bar down on the 4th, this half bar on the 4th fret, and your little finger will be up there. So if you're doing it right, and your little finger should be over the guitar, not back here. A lot of people, if you play and you have your little finger back like that, that's a real bad habit. You always want all your fingers over the fretboard. So that little glissando, instead of, unless you're super fast, helps us to tie that legato in. So then here, when you're on this, getting ready to put down measure 7, you need the bass on the low E, and your little fingers and 3rd finger should be right here, ready to go down. And then you've got an 8th note there, and then you put your 3rd finger down. You don't have to get that whole chord down at once. You just think of it, building it bit by bit and over time, and that gives you the time down and lift off the little finger, and then measure 8. And here you're going to play an A chord, and you're going to just kind of rock your hand over so that that 2nd finger, well, now I play my A chord with 2 fingers because I've got big fingers. So I play the 4th and 3rd strings with the tip of my 1st finger, and then I put my 2nd finger down there. If you do the traditional A chord here, you would do it this way with your little finger. So the fingering would be wrong there for you. You'd play your 3-fingered A chord here, or if you do it this way, you know, if you've got small fingers and can do that, then you can get away with it. I can't. Another little melodic figure there. Okay, we're getting ready to go into line 3, measure 2. So here again, the same thing. Now I'm just playing a quarter note here at the end of measure 9. I scrapped that 8th note at the last half beat. Going into measure 10. So there's a crescendo right through there, because so far we've kept everything fairly soft and gentle. This is a lullaby. We're in Bethlehem. It's a quiet night. But here there's some drama that happens in the music, and we can use that to build. And then kind of bring it down a little bit here, and then another build. You can even strum that whole chord if you want, or just... So that phrase through there has a change here. Okay, so the last last beat of measure 11 is written with repeating the bass, that F sharp bass on the 6th string. On my CD, I did it on the 4th string. Either one's okay, but I liked it. By bringing it up to the 4th string, it kind of softens it, and it gives you a chance to have another crescendo within the crescendo. So da-da, beneath thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. So I'm not sure if those were all the right words, but anyway, so that's how I play that. And then that, like I said, the last measure there, measure 13, as written would be. And then we'll talk about the last note in that measure in just a second. But the other thing is vibrato through here. I've been using vibrato throughout the piece, and you've probably noticed a little wiggling in my hands. And on these bar chords, and that's a shake that really starts down here in the forearm and the elbow. So the shake's happening down in the forearm, and you have to grip your bar chord fairly tight so that shake doesn't move you off the strings. But that's how you get, instead of just flat sound. So that's how to do the vibrato. It takes practice. But okay, so we're to the last beat of measure 13 at the end of line 3, and the way it's written is you're coming off this big chord, and I'm playing 2 strings. I'm playing the 1st and 2nd strings, and I'm playing these notes on the bar chord here, the 2nd fret on both. I changed that, and I just went to a single note on the 1st string, because you want to bring it down. You're coming back into this last line, which is soft again. So this takes you off of this big drama. Brings you back down to earth. So when you do that, you can kind of take a little pause there. Be real careful how you lift your fingers off. You'll find that if you're getting noise when you lift your fingers off, experiment, these 3 fingers, experiment with that, because you want this, you still want notes to ring, and then just before you're ready to play that note, same thing as first measure, measure 14. And here we're going to jump up to full diminished, 4 string diminished. With now the bass is on the 4th string, the F sharp, whereas in measure 1, 2, 3, it was on the 5th string, the open A. So same tricks, glissando down to the G, and then E minor. And this E minor, you're going to, you don't need the B there. You're going to play the, on your right hand now, your thumb plays the 6th string. Your first finger is going to play the 4th string, and your second finger, or third finger is going to play the second string. And that leaves you, and then your second finger plays the open G on the third string. And while that's happening, while you're playing that note, gives you a half of a beat to bring the left hand up to this G chord. And the note that open G is your bass note, or your root for this G chord. And this is a note you can have it can be really gentle and put some vibrato in it. And on this vibrato, you want to, if you can, if you have steel strings, try and make the motion of the vibrato go this way rather than this way. This is the classical vibrato. And it'll work, it'll give you some vibrato. On nylon strings, that's the only vibrato you want to use. Don't waste your time with this way, because it doesn't give you anything on nylon strings. But on steel strings, it's like a rock guitarist bending or blues. So you get a little wider pitch change in your vibrato. But be careful not to bend them so far up that you touch the third string, because that's your root and your bass note. So you got to let it keep ringing. Anyway, that's enough about that. But that's a nice moment. So and here, going from this D on measure 16, slide on your second finger. And you can even slide on your first finger partway down, maybe down to and lift it off about the third fret. Same trick with the A, rolling. And end it nice and soft. So, the other thing I have is an intro that I added. I don't even remember writing this. I didn't do it on the CD. This was a part of a medley, Christmas medley I did. But anyway, or this was a song within that medley. But this intro is real simple. A D chord. First is a D sus4, where you have your little finger down on the third fret of the first string. And then the second chord is D sus2, where you lift off and have the open first string. What would I say? On the D sus4, your little finger's on the third fret of the first string, and then open first string. So it goes like this. So you play the fourth, the third, the second string, and then the fifth string at the start of these. So a little eighth note. My wife likes it better just not repeating it, just doing it once, so it sounds like this. So however you like, you can use that, don't use it once, use it twice, but it wouldn't work at the ending. It's just an intro. So that's all I have on that piece. Look for more arrangements, especially Christmas arrangements. I'm trying to get some up here real soon on liturgicalguitarist.com. I pray God blesses your playing, and I wish you peace.